It was one of those mornings in Willow Grove that felt like it belonged in an old postcard, where the world slowed just enough to let you breathe. The oaks along the sidewalks whispered in the breeze, their leaves brushing against faded American flags that hung proud on every porch. Sprinklers hissed in a lazy rhythm, and somewhere down the street, a radio crackled with Merle Haggard's voice slipping out of a half-open garage. On the front porch of a modest brick house, Marcus sat in his usual spot, a creaky lawn chair he'd fixed himself after a storm splintered its frame. Beside him, as always, was Cooper, his golden retriever, 9 years old, with eyes that didn't just see but understood. Cooper wasn't just a dog. He was Marcus's anchor, trained to catch the faint tremors in his hands, to nudge him when his breathing hitched, to stand guard when the ghosts of war crept too close. Marcus didn't talk much since the army let him go, but with Cooper, words weren't needed. Their silence was a language of its own. Inside, I was filling a bird feeder with seeds, the old metal one shaped like a barn that Dad left behind, when I heard the tires. Too smooth, too deliberate, like a car that didn't belong. I peeked through the kitchen blinds. A black SUV, no front plate, just a glossy shell idling at the curb. One wheel digging into the grass Marcus had mowed yesterday. The doors open, not slammed, not eased shut, but closed with a kind of purpose that made my stomach twist. 2 men stepped out, wearing tactical vests, gray and scuffed, with HOA enforcement stenciled in peeling white letters. No clipboards, no badges, just mirrored sunglasses and smirks that screamed trouble. They didn't look like they'd ever trimmed a hedge, let alone enforced neighborhood rules. Our real HOA president, Mrs. Larson, would have called first. These guys? They weren't from Willow Grove. I stepped onto the porch, wiping seed dust off my hands, but the taller one, with a buzz cut and a jaw like a sledgehammer, was already pointing at Cooper. "That dog's a violation," he said, casual as if he were commenting on the weather. Emotional support animals need HOA approval. Marcus didn't flinch. His hand drifted to Cooper's collar, fingers brushing fur like he was steadying himself. "He's not emotional support," Marcus said, voice low but solid. "He's medical, ADA certified. Want to see his tag?" The shorter guy, broad-chested with gum, snapping loud enough to grate, stepped closer. "Doesn't matter. No form filed. Section 9B, HOA code. Look it up." Marcus's eyes flicked up, but he stayed still. Cooper rose, no growl, just alert like a soldier awaiting orders. My gut churned not from their words, but from the way they carried themselves, like they were itching for a fight. Buzzcut took a step toward Marcus's chair, toward Cooper. "Hand over the dog. Temporary impound. You'll get him back." Marcus stood, slow and precise. No hint of threat, just control. "No," he said. Buzzcut's hand twitched toward his belt, where a walkie-talkie hung. No gun, but the move was a challenge. Then the shorter one did something I'll never unsee. He grabbed Cooper's leash and yanked. I lunged forward, but Marcus's hand shot up, stopping me. "I've got this," he said, his jaw tight, the kind of tight I remembered from the days he came back from deployment, when sleep only came with Cooper pressed against him. "Let go of my dog," Marcus said, each word heavy, deliberate. Shorty smirked. "Or what?" The air froze, like the world was holding its breath. Marcus met his eyes, unblinking, and said one word, "Speak." Cooper barked. One sharp, piercing sound that echoed off the siding. And then, from the side of the house, gravel crunched under boots. 4 men stepped into VYEU, silent, MOVYing like they'd done this 100 times. First came Riley, a giant with a red beard and arms like tree trunks. Then Carter, lean and watchful, the medic who'd once dragged Marcus through a firefight. Behind them, Lopez and Chun, quiet, coordinated, their CIVY Lien clothes doing nothing to hide the soldier in their steps. Marcus's old unit, the brothers he never mentioned, but who showed up for every milestone, every shadow that lingered too long. They weren't here by chance. They were backup. Buzzcut's sunglasses slipped, his mouth parting slightly. Shorty's gum stopped mid-chew. Riley stepped forward, voice low. "Problem with the soldier's medical dog?" Nobody answered. The fake enforcers were cornered, their bravado leaking like air from a punctured tire. Neighbors started spilling out, phones up, cameras rolling. Old Mrs. Callahan yelled, "Aren't those the creeps who find me for my rose bushes?" The crowd grew, and with it, a murmur of recognition. These weren't just scammers. They were predators, preying on the quiet, the vulnerable, the ones who paid to avoid trouble. Shorty, desperate, yanked Cooper's leash again. Big mistake. Marcus stood taller, his calm cracking just enough to show the steel beneath. "Let go," he said, voice like a blade. Buzzcut sneered. "Or what?" Marcus didn't blink. "Speak," he said again, softer this time, like a promise. Cooper barked, sharper, and the unit moved. Riley grabbed Buzzcut's wrist as he reached for his vest, pinning him against the porch rail with a grip that didn't need to be rough to be final. Carter dropped Shorty with a swift, clean tackle. Not brutal, just efficient. Lopez circled the SUV, snapping photos of the plate, while Chin stood watch, eyes on the crowd. Cooper didn't move, didn't growl, just sat, eyes locked on Marcus, waiting for the next command. The street came alive. Screen doors banged open, kids on bikes skidded to a stop, and Linda from 3 houses down hollered, "Get him, boys." Laughter rolled through the crowd, not cruel, but righteous. These weren't just fakes, they were the ones who'd harassed widows, fined veterans for flagpoles, made Mrs. Turner cry over her garden gnomes. Now they were exposed, vests peeled off like cheap costumes. Sirens wailed in the distance, steady, not rushed. 7 minutes since that first bark, and the real cops arrived. Lieutenant Harris stepped out, a Marine vet who knew Marcus from veterans' breakfasts. He took one look at the scene, fake vests, fake badges, Riley holding Buzzcut like a rag doll inside. IDs. Now. Shorty stammered about being contractors, but Marcus cut him off. "They're not HOA. I checked with Mrs. Larson yesterday." Harris flipped through a notebook. "Same guys who hit Maple Lane last week. Let's go." The cuffs clicked, and the crowd clapped, not loud, but steady, like they were sealing something. Marcus and Cooper stepped back to the porch, normal as ever, like this was just another Tuesday. But it wasn't. By noon, the VY Deo was online, 3 angles stitched together by some kid down the street. You saw it all. Marcus's quiet command, Cooper's bark, the unit emerging like ghosts, the takedown smooth as a drill. It hit 1 million VYUs by nightfall, 10 million by the weekend. News channels ate it up. Fox called it calm resistance. CNN dubbed it accidental justice. But to us, it was just Marcus, Cooper, and a line nobody should have crossed. The fallout was swift. The scammers, real names Eddie Voss and Ray Keller, had a rap sheet. Elder fraud, fake cop stints, a trail of shaken VY Tims. They targeted retirees, single moms, veterans, demanding cash for fake VY-olations. One lady paid Dula $250 for an illegal porch light. An old man was fined for his ramp. Nobody questioned their vests until Cooper's bark lit the fuse. They were charged with fraud, assault, trespassing, and endangering a veterana felony that stuck hard. No plea deals, no slap on the wrist. The judge, a Vietnam vet, made sure of it. Willow Grove changed. The HOA issued statements disavowing the fakes. Mrs. Larson, our president, posted a VY Deo from her kitchen. "We stand with our veterans. Imposters will face the law. Also, please mulch your flower beds." The mayor gave Cooper a medal, a bronze disc that read Hero of the County. Marcus didn't say much, just let her pet Cooper, who wore it like he'd earned it. At the ceremony, kids waved signs, and one guy's banner read, "My HOA can't fix potholes, but this dog called the cavalry." Marcus didn't want the spotlight. "I just wanted to be left alone," he told me, scratching Cooper's ears. But the courtroom was different. He wore his dress blues, Cooper in his Sayre VYC vest, and when he took the stand, the room went still. He spoke plain. "They grabbed my dog. I thought if they took him, I'd lose control." Cooper's bark gave me a second to breathe. The judge leaned forward. "That's enough. Guilty on all counts." The applause started small, then swelled, and the judge didn't stop it. He just patted Cooper's head and walked out. Outside, Marcus tied Cooper's leash to the flagpole, not to hold him, but to stand together. Cameras flashed, but Marcus only said, "You're not alone. If you are, you won't be long." Cooper barked once like he agreed. A week later, a poster appeared on the HOA board. "Ser VYC dogs are not violations. Heroes live here." It showed Marcus, Cooper, and the unit, no caption needed. By dinner, it was everywhere: Facebook, diner menus, phone screens. One morning, I found a note in our mailbox. No address, just cursive. "We were watching. Thank you." Willow Vets, Chapter 12. Marcus framed it, hung it by his medals. Every dawn, he and Cooper took the porch, same chairs, same flag. Cooper barked once, not loud, just clear. "We're here. We're home." Neighbors waved, kids saluted, and the air felt lighter. Justice didn't shout. It barked steady and true, and Willow Grove would never forget.